Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. Hello and welcome. It is the 1st of April 2020. Hello and welcome to a new month. I hope you've all had a really lovely day wherever you are in the world. As always, this is a live chat, so I will go and find the chat room and see who is around, who is dropping in at this time. As always, any links that I share during this chat in the live chat room, I will post in the description box so that you can follow on Catch Up as well. So hello and welcome. The stories that we're going to be talking about today include Prince Charles and his message to Age UK and the SILVERLINE charity, also on behalf of Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. We're going to be talking about Prince William and the possibility that he may step up and take back active duty within the air ambulance. And news in today that the Queen has honoured one of her favourites, Lady Elizabeth Shakerley, with being a commander of the Royal Victorian Order. So we have a few stories to get into. We will leisurely take a stroll into them in a moment, but before we do, I want to say hello to everyone dropping in here in the chat room. I can see lots of channel members, and they are in green. I can see Gangster Gran, I can see Cindy, I can see Christine, and there we go. Oh, but by the way, as it is the 1st of the month, for those channel members that joined when I very first introduced channel memberships, I think the 1st of the month, or when you've been a member for, is it 3 months now? I think it is, your badge changes. So there could be some badge changes going on. I don't know. Let me know if you've noticed your badge changing, if you are a channel member. Right, okay, I think we should go straight into the first story, which is Prince Charles and his message. So what I'm going to do is post a link to that in the description. So if you haven't seen my video on it, it is also on the Royal Family YouTube channel. It's also on Twitter and it's also on Instagram. So you've got a big selection to choose from, but I will post a link now to it. Let me just go there and copy it. This is the one to Twitter. So you can watch that at your leisure, or you can just go and watch the version that I posted. By the way, I am wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara today, which is one of the Queen's personal favourites. So, Prince Charles recorded this message at Birk Hall, which is his Scottish residence on the Balmoral estate, which obviously he is sharing with at the moment, Camilla. Now, Charles is out of self-isolation, but Camilla is still being isolated within their home of Birk Hall. But because Camilla and Charles are over the age of 70, they are classed as vulnerable people, even though they are in good health. And they will be following the government advice to not leave the house anyway. So, yeah, Charles was in isolation for 7 days, Camilla 14, because Charles was the one in the household with the symptoms. So they allow for Camilla with the incubation period. So Camilla is still in isolation until the end of the week. Charles recorded this message. His voice was still slightly croaky. I mean, obviously he is recovering from an illness, but he spoke very well. He spoke very eloquently. He spoke very passionately. And for the viewer comments that I've seen on this message, on social media, on my channel, on their channel, people are very respectful and happy that Charles made this message, this call to the nation. He recorded it in what looks like his study at Birk Hall. Now, if you do look at the background, I can hear cats. Shall I let my cat in? Hang on just a second. Come on then. It's Rory. Come on in, sweetie. Come on then. There we go. There we go. Cats do not like closed doors, do they? So we now have a Rory in the room. Right, as I was saying, Prince Charles's the backdrop of what looks like to be his study shows a bookcase with an array of books. A lot of them look very old. Oh, hello, here he is. Hello, come and say hello to people. Oh, baby. Hello. Mwah. There we go. So a lot of the books look quite old. In fact, some of the spines on the back of the books on the top shelf actually look like they're almost torn off. Now, as we know, right, he now wants to go. Oh, you know what it's like with animals. Right, you're not coming back in. Right, I've just told him he's in, out, in, out. He wanted to come and have a look. Anyway, so Burke Hall was the previous Balmoral residence of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, while she was Queen Mother. So Charles has kind of kept Burke Hall pretty much as it was in his grandmother's day. So some of those books may have belonged to her, may even have belonged to George VI. I can't actually tell because a lot of the spines are kind of gone. But probably those of you with eagle eyes might be able to zoom in and see what a lot of his collection contains. My eyesight isn't terribly good, so I was trying to struggle with some of the spines. But if you can work out what the book collection is, do leave me a message. Because I would be quite interested to see all of what Charles's books are. He looks very comfortable, he's well dressed, so you know he's not slobbing it out in his pajamas. He's still getting dressed, which I think is really, really important with what's going on in the world right now, that we do maintain our standards of personal hygiene and dignity. Get dressed. Don't just lounge around in your pajamas all day long. For those of you that are, you can get a lacy fan flap from me. No, get yourself dressed, have a wash, stick to some kind of routine. It really does help. I have been getting dressed up every single day. I've been having a shower, getting into my shirt, looking smart, or rather trying to look smart. And then once I've finished today's work, it's then in the evening that I have gotten into my pajamas and had an evening, a relaxing evening. So I think that routine is really important. Don't let your standards slip, or else Hyacinth Bouquet will be on your case. Just think Hyacinth. In these kind of situations, I always think, what would Hyacinth do? And Hyacinth would not let her standards slip. She most certainly would not. She wouldn't be putting on her second best blue dress. She'd be putting on her first best blue dress, if you get my meaning. So, I'm going to talk a little bit now about the contents of Charles's Age UK and Silverline message. So he said, he acknowledged that this is a distressing and anxious time for people. Now, I've seen some headlines that have already been writing articles about Charles's message, and they have taken it that Charles is saying that he felt distressed and anxious. Having watched the video, Charles nowhere in it says that he felt distressed and anxious directly, but I can see where they're coming from. You can kind of ascertain that he has been through it. He didn't go into the kind of second stage where he was really, really ill. He had mild symptoms. They didn't develop into anything worse. But he does speak about that he knows that it can be a distressing and anxious time for people, and in particular, if you are in that vulnerable category of being over 70 or having an underlying health condition. He also spoke of the feeling of isolation and loneliness. I mean, of course, when you are in self-isolation, it does what it says on the tin. You are isolated. However, we do live in a world where we have modern communications, we have Skype, we have text, and for those of us who are able to access that, there's no need to feel alone. The telephone, the internet, you know, there is so much that we can do. Just imagine if the world of technology wasn't here. It would be even worse. But even so, Charles has commented on the isolation and the loneliness. Obviously, this is a video about Age UK and Silverline. Camilla is the patron of Silverline and Charles Age UK. At the end of this video, I will go back to edit it. not the video, but I will edit the description box and I will share a link to the Clarence House video. I will also share a link to Age UK and the Silverline. Of course, those charities will have telephone numbers, so if you are feeling like you need to speak to someone and you fall into that category, you can ring them, call them, click on the website, find the number, give them a call. I think that is really, really, really important. Charles also touched on the UK community spirit. And there is a big, massive community spirit here in the UK. Often when we have a tragedy or a disaster, people do come together. We had a call for, they wanted 100, I think it was 100,000 NHS volunteers, so people to volunteer their services to the community and to help and support the NHS. They actually had, I think they had in the end 500, 600,000 people subscribing to that. So that was amazing. He said that there is a network of selfless assistance, and that is what I have just spoken about as to what he meant. And there really is. There are people, you know, helping their neighbours and the elderly people and the vulnerable where they possibly can, obviously within the safety guidelines that we have to work in and the advice that is being offered. He mentioned the hard press services, including the NHS and the emergency services, and that they are under a strain and great risk. And again, that is true. You know, all of our emergency services, the health services. He also touched on shop workers in supermarkets providing a vital service to keep the country going. He said how proud he was of NHS volunteers and anyone helping in the community. He also, you know, obviously said this is a challenging situation and that no one can say officially when it will end. Only that it will. You know, eventually it will end. And I think that was a little bit of, you know, optimism and hope that I think is well needed. And I think Charles is uniquely placed, having experienced it, to be able to speak about it now. He also says that there is hope and there is faith for a better time to come. And that is how he ended that video. So I'm going to go over to you guys and see what you are saying and commenting about everything. So Laura says, I've seen it and it's very good. I agree. I think it was really good. And it was nice to see him happy. Gangster Grand says, I was so happy to see Charles as well. Laurie says, I saw it twice. Hope he's doing so well. Lots of people laughing at Rory's entrance and then departure. Leanne says, I'm thankful that he had a mild case. Nice to see him on the mend. Thank you to Leanne, who says I look smart as well. Black Risa says, Mrs. Bouquet. Yes. Oh, what would Hyacinth do? That is what I always think. Yes. She is from Keeping Up Appearances. Yes. Thank you to Pam for... Oh, thank you to everyone for all the shirt comments. I'm getting shirt comments. I like them. Angelic says, did I hear that in this week's British Vogue magazine is an article about Meghan by her former hairdresser? No, I did not. Thank you for telling me. I will see if I'm able to find a copy of the article anywhere. Is the article online anywhere? Because it's a little bit tricky to go out and buy things right now. But if you can find me a link to it, I'll be more than happy. I'll be thankful to read it. And of course, I will talk about it on Steps of Sussex. Janet says, good morning from Superior, Wisconsin. Enjoy your videos. Had to laugh when you refer to Hyacinth Bouquet. I love that show. Brings a lot of laughs into my life. Well, what do you think Hyacinth would be doing on April the 1st? Bearing in mind it is April Fool's Day. Now, I know a lot of people have said April Fool's Day should be cancelled because there's so much seriousness going in the world. I don't know where I stand on this because, to be quite honest, we all need a little bit of humour in these trying times. So perhaps people being very quick to dismiss the traditional April the 1st tomfoolery, maybe a little bit quick to dismiss it. And also, I think it's very, very important that where possible, we try and stick to our traditions and routines as best we can. Unless something has actually forced it to be stopped, to be cancelled, I think we should perhaps maybe retain our traditions where we possibly can. Apparently it just came out today, the Vogue article, plus you're in the US. Oh, well, I need to find it. If someone can find me I don't know, a copy of it somewhere. Dorothy says, I found it very inspirational, reminiscent of Winston Churchill. It was certainly powerful, and I think a lot of people will respect that message and will be able to listen to it knowing that he has gone through it as well, and come out the other side. So yes, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's very authentic. I think it's a very authentic message. Prince Charles is not trying to score any political points. Prince Charles hasn't been looking at this from the angle of a politician, which is usually, how best can I politically gain from a situation, such as politicians do. They are always looking forward to the next election. This is one of the benefits, again, of having a monarchy, is that, Prince Charles doesn't have to try and pander to any to gain any political advantage. This message came straight from the heart. It was, it was well meant. It was authentic. It was authentic, is what I'm trying to say. H.A. Bracken hates practical jokes. Some people do. Margaret got married in 1980 on April Fool's Day. Christine thinks we all need a good joke today. Right, I'm going to move on from Prince Charles' story because I now want to talk about Prince William and the news circulating that he wishes to rejoin the air ambulance. Now, as we know, before he... Well, hang on. He trained in Anglesey. So I've got loads of links popping up and I was trying to close them down. So before William became a full-time working royal, he worked as an air ambulance rescue pilot. He trained in Anglesey. William and Catherine, in their early days, lived on Anglesey. And he worked, proper full shifts as an air ambulance rescue pilot. He saved or assisted in saving many lives. He flew into dangerous situations. There have been articles previously where people have written about that they didn't realise that it was William piloting the helicopter that saved them, that rescued them. And there is talk that palace sources have. Let me just find the bit where it says, he stepped down from being an East Anglian air ambulance pilot in 2017 to focus on being a full-time working royal, because at the time there was growing pressure for him to stand up and to take on more duty, to take some of the burden off his father and the Queen. So sources close to the Prince, and this is being widely reported. This is not something that's just being picked up by one news publication. This is something that's been out for, maybe 5 days now or more. The palace has not come out to say it's not true. So, sources close to the Prince have said that he has expressed his desire to return to the front line. The source said William has been seriously considering returning as an air ambulance pilot to help in the current situation. He knows the whole country is doing its bit and he wants to help. But it's complicated, as he was originally grounded from the job so he could become a full-time senior working royal. There are all sorts of practicalities to overcome, such as fitting in shift patterns, but he's in the right place now if he wants to do it. He is. I mean, whilst he was still working, he was based in Norfolk. a short, maybe it was about half an hour away from their Norfolk and home, so he could quite easily rejoin. There is the issue also of refresher training, although it's believed that he has kept up his helicopter flying hours in the intervening years. So after a quick retrain and refresh, there is the possibility that he could do it. However, there is also, the risks associated with maybe that he could catch something that he might not, that we might not want him to catch. But nevertheless, the sentiment, the heart is in the right place. Whether he's able to do that or not, whether it's able to be worked out, his heart is in the right place, and he wants to do it to help. He wants to do something actively, and it's very, very difficult when you are a member of the royal family or anybody, to be honest, and you actually want to do something to constructively help. William and Catherine visited NHS 111 call centre before they moved to Anma, but it is very, very difficult to actually do something. You can, refer people to links. You can help to look after, people's mental health by doing things. But I think he physically actually wants to do something physical. And whether or not that can be negotiated, we await to see. So let's just have a look what people are saying about that. Elaine says he would if he could, but I hope he doesn't. We need him as our future king. There are difficulties, and we will see how that pans out. Louise says, in the Vogue UK article, the title says George Northwood on creating iconic hair moments with the Duchess of Sussex. Iconic hair moments? I think I need to see this. My goodness. Right, I'm going to move on now to the final story of today. And this is one that actually came out today. So I'm going to find where I found out about it. So this was actually something that was posted in the court circular. Now, the court circular records engagements that have been carried out by senior members, by working members of the royal family. So the Queen has... Oh, I have a door knock. Hang on just a second. My door is knocking. Hi there. Cheers. Thank you. Oh dear. There we go. The ideals of being live. My door knocked. I had a delivery, which you'll find out about if you watch my weekly vlog. Right, I was not going to answer the door in full tiara. Can you imagine the look on the delivery man's face if I had answered the door in full tiara? He would not have a clue what I was doing. Can I have a fan flap for that, please? My goodness. Right, anyway, moving on, back to it. This is live! This is live. This is real life, live, real... Yes, but I can't get to a sink. Anyway, he put the parcel down. What they're doing in the UK is putting the parcels down, you collect it, they step away, all that. So, yeah, afterwards, I will go wash my hands. Right, so, the Queen has honoured her cousin, Lady Elizabeth Shakerley, who was a sister to a well-known photographer, the late Lord Lichfield. Lady Elizabeth has provided a very stylish and discreet service to the royal family for many years through her company, Party Planners. So, I have got a little bit more information about Lady Elizabeth Shakerley. So, she was born on the 7th of June 1941 and is a British party planner and socialite from the Anson family. Lady Elizabeth is the first cousin once removed of Queen Elizabeth II and sister of Patrick Anson, the 5th Earl of Lichfield. So the Honourable Elizabeth Georgina Anson was born 7th of June 1941 at Windsor Castle. Anson's mother was a niece of Queen Elizabeth, and King George VI was her godfather. She was educated at Downhall School in Hertfordshire, When her brother inherited the family seat of Shugborough Hall near Great Haywood, Staffordshire, she moved in with him. Now, Shugborough Hall is not too far away from where I live, actually, and I have been to Shugborough Hall on a school trip when I was younger. In fact, they had like an old working kitchen, like a Victorian kitchen, where you could go and you could cook as a child with you know, when they're all dressed up in their costumes, and it's like a working old country house. So I have been to Shugborough Hall. Her parents divorced in 1948, and her mother remarried Prince George Valdemar of Denmark and moved to Paris. Her father died in 1958. Lady Elizabeth has been planning parties for the Queen since 1960. Notable events she has planned include Sting's wedding, Margaret Thatcher's 70th birthday party, and Elizabeth II's 80th party. The wedding of Pavlos, Crown Prince of Greece, and Marie Chantal Miller, and a reception for the foreign royals the night before the wedding of Prince William and Catherine at the Mandarin Oriental Hyde Park Hotel. So Lady Elizabeth has attended many royal events in continental Europe, including the 80th birthday celebration in Oslo of the King and Queen of Norway. So she has worked extensively with the Queen. And she's had several title changes throughout her lifetime. Up until 1961, from birth, she was the Honourable Elizabeth Georgina Anson. From 61 to 72, Lady Elizabeth Georgina Anson. And from 72 till the present, Lady Elizabeth Georgina Shakerley. But there is a note on titles here. Despite her father dying before acceding to the earldom of Lichfield, Anson was granted the rank of an earl's daughter on the 12th of July 1961. So she has received today, rather I think it may have been yesterday actually, the Commander of the Royal Victorian Order. So the Royal Victorian Order, let me just find the link as to where it was. Just a second. I'm going back. There we go. The Royal Victorian Order is a dynastic order of knighthood established in 1896 by Queen Victoria. It recognises distinguished personal service to the monarch of the Commonwealth realms, members of the monarch's family, or to any viceroy or senior representative of the monarch. There we go. So she has been honoured today. So congratulations to Elizabeth. Laura Terry says, I love your live videos and how we can chat with you. Yes. Tammy Brown says, Pippa Middleton Matthews worked for party planners. No, this is a different one. The Middleton's party planners is different, I do believe. But yes, the Middletons do have... No, they have party pieces. But Pippa Middleton was a party planner. That's it. Sharona says, clean the box. Well, the box will get recycled. Let's put it that way. Stephanie D. Kelly says, there are suspicions that the Prince William air ambulance story is just, well, made up. There will always be suspicions about any story there is going. Yes, there will be hand sanitizer. Tisha, I can't read today, says, I totally appreciate every live chat. Thank you. Thank you. Angelic says, better reason to answer the door with that tiara. Auntie Dee's doesn't see a problem with wearing the tiara. Tammy's disappointed I took off the tiara. Look, there are limits. There are limits. And even I probably cannot answer the door in full tiara. That would be a moment, wouldn't it? Linnea says, I'm so happy that your live chat notification came through. I don't always get them. I'm glad it came through too. And we have 151 people watching as of now. Right, so let me just check. In fact, have I put it in? I did. So I have actually set up that in the description box of every video, there are certain links that come up. So there's my Patreon link, wishlist link, Royal Reviewer Friends Facebook community, and my PO box address. So just in case you know, you did want to reach out, the Royal Reviewer and Friends Facebook community is really, really good. So if you want to request to join that one, click on the link. You have to answer all 3 questions or a moderator will not approve. So make sure you answer all 3 questions. There is a lot of support there between community members, so do go and check that. Also, if you want to write to me, my PO box is there as well. Although I don't know when next I'll be able to go and check it, if you know what I mean. But at least things will be there if you did want to write to me. It might give you something to do, I don't know. And I always do love and enjoy reading the videos. And I put my Patreon link there because I do, if you didn't know, for all of my Royal Reviewer patrons on Patreon, and the patrons are separate to the channel members. It's a completely different thing. So I do a weekly live chat, a private patrons only live chat every Thursday at 7 p.m. GMT for patrons. So obviously it's Wednesday today. So I normally send out the link to patrons once I've set up the chat on a Thursday. So if you wanted to be a part of that, you'd have to join today or early tomorrow before I send out the link. So I just thought I would put that in there for you if you wanted to join the private patrons only chat. And basically we talk about anything. It's not even necessarily royal stuff. It's just we chat about life. It's like having a good old chat with your best friend. That's what I always like to think of it as. And it's quite a relaxing chat as well. So, if you've enjoyed today's video, please give it a big old thumbs up. It helps YouTube know that you have enjoyed the video, and in these difficult times, YouTube is not pushing out videos to subscribers or to people that are just browsing YouTube because they've lost manpower. And they're trying to work around it, but basically they are suppressing videos. So a thumbs up really, really does help. Also leave a comment. That helps as well because it shows YouTube that you are engaged with the video, that you are having a reaction to the video. So if you want to help me, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit the bell as well, and the notification bell, so that you know whenever I upload a new video. And also make sure you are subscribed as well, or else I don't think it sends out notifications and stuff if you're not subscribed. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all, and goodbye.